What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 15 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Tzarina Katarin Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, in a pretty fantastic brawl, we took Fort Dorjny Fort back from Grimgor and 2 stacks of orcs there. It was a glorious battle for the Cossars and the Watchmen in the night in particular, who hacked and slashed their way through the orcish hordes. Now that we've retaken the settlement, it's time to head into the Mountains of Morn, which we've certainly had our sights on since the beginning of the campaign for a number of reasons, but one of which is the fact that Kislev does benefit quite a bit from the additional various resources, because they increase income from farmlands and from markets, depending on the resource. A few of them don't, but a lot of them do, and the Mountains of Morn are rich in resources. Plus, mountainous terrain is green for us as well. Plus, we got to knock Grimgor out, unless he continued to annoy us. Archaon's been sighted, and Tzarina Katarin is moving towards him, and we got a fair bit of cash ready for us to next turn upgrade all the stuff in Kislev to tier 5. Actually, speaking of money and upgrading stuff to Kislev, we're going to trade the Winter Pyre to Epidemius, just like we did the Altar of Spawns. Now, if you think that's a strange thing to do, I feel like we give him the entire territory. It decreases his likelihood of declaring war on us for at least a little bit longer. And on top of that, we can't really keep collecting income here for all that much, and he's willing to give us quite a bit of money for this. At 10k, a little bit over 10k, it would take quite a while for a single settlement that's generating 200 gold per turn to match this kind of money, and we can put that money to better use upgrading other territories. So that's what we're gonna do, and we'll just conquer it back with great ease later on. That's the plan anyway. Plus, perhaps with Epidemius looking stronger and stronger, a few of the other factions will be more likely to declare war on him by virtue of not liking him more. Huh, I wonder, wait, do AI factions get the debuff? The strategic threat debuff? Just out of curiosity, wait. Grimgor is strong. I see aversion, but I don't see strategic threat. Are you telling me that it's only the player that has to deal with strategic threat? Oh, no, there it is. Strategic threat minus 10. I guess it just isn't a thing with the Conclave. Okay, that's fine. Alright, well, he's not going to be a strategic threat for too much longer, I hope. Actually, speaking of Grimgor, we should probably move Mr. Victor Zamvin out here as close to Saber Mountain as possible. We won't be able to heal as much, but at the same time, we want to be able to attack this next turn. Yorogny, I guess you can head into Fort Dorjny Fort then and heal up a little bit. Man, all of our army is the mana. Minus 11. Ouch. Yeah, well, what about the winds here? Minus 5, not all that much better. We're really going to need to set a few armies into channeling stance as soon as we possibly can. But anyway, let's see what else we got to do this turn, and in fact it doesn't look like there's much. We're mostly saving on cash as best we can because we got a lot of stuff to upgrade, and we are getting ready to kickstart our economy for real this time. Between the episodes, as promised, I had Vladimir Mikheyev attack the Port of Secrets rather than auto-resolve it since it was a minor garrison, but we didn't want these guys to get hurt, and he's going to start getting to work on the territories of the Legion of Chaos. Hopefully we can cripple their faction. Maybe if Epidemius declares war on us as well, we can grab the Forest of Decay, try trading it and everything here to Malice Darkblade. I don't know whether this gamble will pay off, and whether we can be friendly enough with Malice to be in an alliance with him, but, well, we can't use the Chaotic Wasteland, and it would be nice if we got an ally holding it rather than an enemy. I guess the big problem will come if he decides to attack, like, Reichland or something. Oh, man. But we'll see. Maybe if we can keep them far enough away from each other and keep Malice in war with everybody else back here. Like, for example, if we don't touch Valkia and whoever else he might be fighting. We'll see. Malice isn't the best option, admittedly, but it's the only option, so what can you do? Let's skip the rest of this. Damage building upgrade outpost available, and then the turn. Go.
Of ice.
Alrighty, well the turn is ending. Looks like we did once again reach the engagement threshold, although we're starting to definitely walk the razor's edge with regards to reaching it. That said, this is episode 15, on episode 13 was where I usually lower the threshold a second time, and I forgot to do it this time. So, yes, hour-long episode for this one, and as of episode 13, the engagement threshold should have been, and is, 300 likes, and I guess 50 comments. Alright, let's see what we got. Ally begins outpost construction, Reichland. Great for you. Settlement raised. That's a shame, but not much we can do about it. I take it you can't cross the river immediately. And Archie can't get to us, but we gotta get to him. We could go around. You know what? I think nonetheless, we're just gonna give chase to him. This is Tzarina Katarin's army. She should be able to handle it just fine. Oradi Pojarski, we're going to have you heading south to join your Rogni. Eugene Gajovich, you are going to go this way. Into Fort Dwarslav, we're going to have you retake Carrick Doom with a little bit of help from, I guess, this guy. He's also going to follow Tzarina Katarin around, but right now he's going to help out Eugene. Though, not really much in the way of defenses there. I assume we could take it. We only got this army for 8 turns. We just gotta make sure we don't lose the Frost Maiden, because we'll want it from the Confederation. Speaking of Confederation, the Tsar will confederate with the World Walkers. Dorinosinov has Constructor, great for him. And ooh, there's that mission successful for Tier 5 for Kislev. Balalaika of the Arari, giving us a melee defense and attack +5 buff for everybody around. I'm tempted to give this to Yarogni's force because he has that command squad. Gotrek, Felix, everybody around will benefit from this as the effect range is relatively short. Gambler's Armor and Ogre Blade, some decent stuff there. Carry out a successful assassination against this guy within the army? Yeah, that's not going to happen. At least I doubt it. Alright, and Beledna the Defender. Well, I guess the question for you... Ooh, damn, they've got another army in here now. Yeah, I guess we'll send Yarogni to help, though. I was originally going to send him back around this way, but maybe we help with one battle, and then leave Victor Zamvin to handle the rest. Let's get the Gleaming Pennant on... you. We obviously can't auto-resolve this since we'll lose most of our army. And there's a decent stack there, so it's worth fighting, I'd say. Yarogni. March stance for you as well, I guess. Can't be channeling them. And Beledna, you're chasing Yarogni around a little bit, but that's okay. It'll be a little bit before we can get you your own full stack. Alright, the rest of these guys have moved and we're getting ready to put ourselves into the position we need to be in. Ooh, I see that these guys are moving around. Gotta watch out for them. And what we want to do here is this. We want to... Okay, wait. Let me just see if I got this right. Okay, we want you to head down to Castle Alexandrinov, maybe. Okay, you know what? Let's put you here. Let me try to figure this out. Put you here, then we'll transfer to you the step distractions and the other Kosovoid archers, and then pop you back into the Tower of Crack. Alright, and then you can go for Protective Charms. I decided to get a Hag Witch after all, because, I don't know, it felt wrong not to have one. Getting more things in the woods, ever more things in the woods, at least until we can get you up to tier... Okay, 5. Gonna be a bit before we get the Incarnate Elementals, but hopefully. The more we build up our main territories like Kislev, etc., the easier that'll all be. Tanner's Guild, growth and stuff, and we gotta get the stall for the increase to, or income from markets everywhere. Even though sadly it doesn't have growth, but the growth here isn't horrible at 3 turns, and we could just build the, Tribal Enclave next. I think we'll get more mileage simply out of the stall. And we can't build any of those things either? Alright, fine. I mean the landmark. Stall for you. Quit your stalling. Hey, that works on several levels. Because of the whole, like Stalin, the guy. Yeah, alright. I'm an idiot. Vladimir Mikheyev, you... Ooh, I thought you couldn't reach Tower Flies. Well, I'm glad that you can. We're gonna loot and occupy that, though we Oh, actually, we have to fight this. Oh, that's got a decent stack of defenders there. I like it. I like it a lot. We'll fight you in a second. Not auto-resolving. Let's give the leadership to... I don't know, one of the Frost Rooms, maybe. Not super likely that we lose a Frost Room, but who knows. I would like... This army kind of lacks magical damage. Do we have a Lichbone Pennant in this campaign? We do not, sadly. And the Razor Standard will not go on your army. Probably we're going to give that to Uragni for one of his Acolytes of Ursun. Maybe. Mikhaila Fedekova, you. Keep on annoying these guys. Ah, there we go, 71 and 2. Much better than what it was before. You better not die off of that. Okay, success. Good, 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 and still not quite to 17. I wonder if Profit affects heroes. It does say experience gain plus 100% for characters, but I wonder if it's in battle alone, or whether it's in, well, everywhere. Anyway. Oh, right, I forgot about you. So, what we need is to upgrade the Tower of Crack to Tier 3 in order to get the Silent Grove, out of which we can build the Akshina Ambushers. We obviously cannot do that as yet, so what we're going to do instead is move you, sir, this way. And we're going to transfer you these Kossars, and then we're going to delete them over time to be replaced by... okay, wait, you can go down to Eringrad. To be replaced by... Akshina Ambushers. Oh, actually, we'll send the recruiter to recruit the Akshina Ambushers for you. And then in addition to the Akshina Ambushers, we'll probably put like 4 units of Ice Guard or something like this, like that in this army, simply to get the combination of Stagger Shot and Slowdown. Ice Sheet would be nice as well, but more likely than not we do more Hag Witches. We'd have to do more Hag Witches in this army because, once again, we have really no access to additional Frost Maidens. Weird as that may be. Anyway, Kislev, you are going to upgrade the Masons Guild. We'll upgrade all the green stuff in a single bound, like so. And it's going to take 3 turns to upgrade this. Ugh. And it'll be an additional 6% construction cost, eh? We can immediately start upgrading the Grand Citadel and the Imperial Embassy. Guess we do have to wait a while on those. I'm just wondering whether we should transfer out of this territory now or wait. Man, now this is construction time reduction as well. Because I'm tempted to put this guy somewhere else to reduce that construction cost elsewhere. We can always come back to this place. Not here. Fort Ostrowsk, not here. Well, actually, we'll build the taverns for more growth. We still need it. You know what? I did want to upgrade Fort Chikova to next tier, and we can upgrade all these markets at the same time. And potentially the Streltsy building, as I wanted to get the Streltsy up and running as well. There's certainly decent, there's a decent argument to be made for that. So we'll take you out, Mr. Good Host, with all the growth that you... Oh, wow, you actually offer more growth than... This guy, yeah, but this guy reduces the construction time. Where do we need the growth of the most is the question. Oh, we need public order here. Where's, who provides a lot of public order? You do, but you also provide a lot of growth. And frankly, Zorno's School is not a particularly critical location. What are critical locations? Okay, so Eastern Oblast is 1 because we need to upgrade all of these to Tier 3 in order to grow the place more and thereby increase the amount of money being made. And the same thing goes for Troll Country. But Eastern Oblast is growing less, so we'll start with you. Alright, so let's do this. You to the Eastern Oblast to increase that money. And then you to Southern Oblast to reduce the construction cost there. And then back to River once we're ready to build up the other things here with further reductions. In 3 turns, presumably. And this way we can maintain some money. Alright, there's probably other buildings to be built, but let's do a fight. We fought orcs at the end of last episode, or fought them last. So, Vladimir Mikheyev, let's fight some Slaaneshi, shall we? Pyrrhic victory. They have a... what is this? In Gifts of Chaos area, melee attack plus 15, reload skill plus 15, spell resistance, vigor, physical resistance. It's a bunch of stuff. And it kind of swaps between them. Interesting. Cool. See how that works out for them. Go.
Kislev is in your blood! Take her courage as your own! Never falter!
Alright, here we go. I don't imagine this will be too much of a problem. It's a Slaaneshi force primarily, and they are quite fragile, and on top of that we have a choke point. And while this is an attack on an enemy settlement, the choke point will work to our advantage, and not to theirs, because we can fire over the heads of our units while our frost worms do their thing and apply their mortis engine effects to everybody out front, and the rest of our command squad reduces the enemy's attack via the Tor's Battle Hymn debuff, as well as keep everybody healed up and such. It's worked in the past, and I imagine it'll work again. And definitely got to get a couple of Frostworms, and well, at least one more army, maybe two. I mean, there's probably an army where we could use more than 2 Frostworms, but I also don't want to go too heavy on them, in the sense that we've got other stuff. It's just that they're a lot cheaper than Elemental Bears, which is why it feels like a decent sort of stopgap unit. On the other hand, we don't have a lot of capacity for them, and especially now while we're focusing economy, and that's unlikely to change until we confederate the Orthodoxy, though admittedly that's going to happen pretty soon. As I recall, one of the Prague buildings had additional capacity. But anyway, looks like the enemy's having a pretty bad time. They certainly can't get through our units. Helm of Discord comes down right after the Battle Hymn of Tor, and the enemy just has all those debuffs stacking upon them. More reinforcements are coming in. Bloodletters to be joined by more Demonettes. I think we've already knocked out a couple of Demonettes units, and the enemies will just keep on taking those range hits. Well done to the Frostworms. They're probably going to rack up a pretty big amount of damage after this battle is over. And of course, a little bit of action on the Warbears. It is nice that Kislev heroes, regardless of what type of hero they are, get the Warbears as their mounts. It makes them a little bit more effective in melee, and considering the heroes here are caster and support hero, it's nice that they can do a little bit of combat. And it provides them additional HP, certainly more than the horses would. Sadly, the Družina doesn't get a mount of a Warbear mount, only a horse mount, but on the other hand, we'll be using at least one of our Družina to lead sallies of skirmishing Ungol archers. That does make sense. Anyway, mostly talking about other stuff, because tactically this battle is very, very simple. Command squad out front, arrows behind, and we kept one of our light war sleds back. If you're wondering why I did this, it's simply to provide the bolstered attack to nearby allies, weapon strength, armor piercing, weapon damage, and melee attack. Plus, while the light war sleds are quote-unquote light, they still got 80 armor, and if anything, like, the Demonettes tries to charge forth to obliterate the very fragile Kossars, and we can use the light war sleds like we're using them now to stop the enemy and prevent them from moving forward. And it's a decent use. The other 3 are heading around the enemy settlement and will be moving towards the enemy Alurus, who is sitting in the key building by herself for some reason, rather than supporting the rest of the army. Feels like a very Skaven thing to do. Alright, well, the other Demonettes are all having a very bad time, getting a few of those Frost Maiden's kisses in, and they are doing decent bits of damage, but probably not nearly as much as the Frostworms when the enemy blobs up around them in this manner. The rest of the command squad is relatively fine, at least while we have the Salyak's lullabies and Tor's battle hymns up. When we run out of the lullabies, we'll start getting a little bit more in trouble, but I don't think the enemy has just enough units for us to run out. Like last episode, we had that massive brawl against the Grimgor there, and it took quite a while for us to run out of 9 uses of the Salyak's lullaby, and we got 6 here, so yeah. Alright, it looks like a lot of those Demonettes and I was going to say Hellstriders, but it looks like Seekers are going to melt away, not having dealt enough damage. Some did manage to charge through, but we're looking. Hey, why are you dropping arrows? What are you doing, guys? The demonettes are already gone, and a bunch of arrows fall upon our own units. Not that it matters for this particular battle, as the enemy is down to the dregs now. The war sleds are heading towards the enemy Allurus, and it looks like there are 2 enemy units left on the field. One, a ranged horror of some kind, blue or pink, I suppose it doesn't really matter, and just sitting on an enemy platform. And I think a unit of, I want to say, Plague Bearers. Gotta be something slow for it not to have joined the fray with the demonettes all this time, as the rest of them came from all over. Slaanesh giggle. Anyway, looks like we are good here, and yeah, it is a unit of Exalted Plague Bear. They really could have used those Exalted Plague Bears and Exalted Pink Horrors, some of the better units, and the defense here. Blob up the Exalted Plague Bears here, and then fire over the rest of the units with the Pink Horrors, but, well, that's the enemy's problem. I guess we're gonna head on in and kill off those Exalted Plague Bearers, lead with the Frost Maiden's Kiss, or is it Ice Maiden's Kiss? Whatever. And Flash of Slaanesh. That's really wasted on the war sleds. It would be really wasted on heavy war sleds, but even on the light war sleds as well. What the heck is going on? The lava texture, I guess, does something weird to the ground. Lots of transparency. But anyway, looks like the enemy Allurus is just about out. And the rest of her army has begun to collapse. We have made it in to attack the Exalted Plague Bearers and have summoned a Snow Leopard to loop around with its very quick move speed, jump up on the platform, and start annoying / attacking those Pink Horrors. Lovely. I do like the summon the leopard ability. The leopard does also, I don't know if it does damage or whether it doesn't, can't quite tell. I'd be curious to find out, though. So when the desummoning happens, when they degrade after summoning, the units seem to explode, just like we saw there. I'm not sure whether it does damage or just knocks enemy units back, but there may be some use for it. Anyway, just gotta knock out the last of you Plague Bearers, and the battle will be ours with very, very few losses, I imagine. And funnily enough, I think the only losses we end up taking in this battle are those who get killed by a couple volleys from these Pink Horrors here. I honestly thought that with 4 units of Cossars firing on the Pink Horrors, they would die before they managed to kill off any units, but it looks like they do manage to kill off 7 or so, 8 or so of the Cossars. But here come the War Sleds and the rest of our units, our command squad, and our Frost Worms to knock out the last of the Horrors and give this settlement to us. Definitely making Daniel pay over the next few turns, or just repeatedly annoying us. Although, to be fair, he has provided us his very nice defeat trait and made us immune to his own, or to chaos, I guess, in general corruption, which will come in handy for knocking him out and the rest of the forces of chaos up here. Alright, that went pretty darn well, but we expected it to go pretty darn well, all things considered. Just can't out-resolve in this particular area. And besides, once again, this army is still mostly just basic Cossars, the weakest troops, and in a vacuum, the Demonettes should be able to absolutely rip them apart, but the choke point works very much in our advantage with the Frost Worms, the Drake of the North, and Yaslov, the Frozen, able to hold them off without too much trouble. For once, the Light War Sleds didn't really do much of anything, but it was better to keep them safe and buffing us up a little bit rather than anything else. We're gonna loot the place, loot and occupy the place, whatever. And casualty punishment rate +2, Ataman's Administrator. That's interesting. Construction time -15% for all buildings, local province. No, you're not taking this. Ataman's Administrator, this is actually something that could go on this guy, because he's at Erengrad, and maybe that'll reduce the construction time a bit. I remember about that Balalaika of the Arari as well. Where's the Ataman's Administrator? Yeah, there we go. Casualty replenishment rate should probably go into an actual army, but he's buffing up Erengrad right now, and we need to, well, let's essentially grow it as much as possible, as fast as possible, so it has to take priority. Don't bother collecting income here, as there's no need to. Huh, we kept the palisade. That's kind of interesting. Almost tempted to delete it. For trading stuff to Malice, we could also build some stuff here. Alright, let's do that and then that. I don't care. Just build some military stuff. Hopefully that'll make these high enough value. Just out of curiosity, how much is the Tower of Flies worth to Epidemius? 27... Oh, we took all his money. Well, that's one way to bankrupt your opponents, I suppose. They bit off a little bit more than they could chew in terms of paying us for those territories. Huh, certainly a strategy I hadn't previously considered, but maybe something to look into in the future at some point. Anyway, let's keep on building merchant traders, Frozen Landing, Temple of Heimkel, definitely the Iron Mine for Dwarslav. I guess you're going for the Orthodoxy Shrine, although I'm kind of inclined to start pushing, you know what, let's do the Market Square here, but let's do the farmstead here instead. We'll build the farmstead in the Hallowed Wood here rather than the church, so that these things will generate us more cash. We'll just go market here and we'll go church here. A little bit of everything in this particular province. I do think it'll be generating a solid amount of cash, especially once we no longer need the breastworks here at Kirik Valag. What about other stuff? Wait, was the Ataman moving? Okay, it's moving now, so next turn. So you won't, well, you won't need to build anything. You can wait until next turn. Fort Ostrosk is fine. Terror of Krak we're waiting for a couple turns on as well. Ah, Sjoktraken. Sjoktraken, let's build the Market Square here. We'll upgrade the Market Square and the Gem Mine at Krakadrak as well. Very nice, very nice. And once again, we still do have money left over, but we can spend it on Kislev once we're able to. All right, next up, we have recruiting going on. You are, well, not recruiting for now. I also need you... So these guys, by virtue of getting Speaks to the Forest if you want to get it, and we can use Hag Witches in this army. Because the fact is, this army's going to need a caster, and there are no other casters, though we do want a second witch in Mother Ostankya's army, but none of these ones. I specifically want one with Nature Spirit really? All three Nature Spirit Affinity, and all of them are in the Death Lore. I want one of the Hag Lore. Why Hag Lore? Because of the Witch Brew, and the fact that it offers us healing. Or whatever the opposite version of Witch Brew is. The Bless rather than the Hex or Curse or whatever it's called. And we already have one Hag Witch of Beasts here, which, you know, Hag Witch of Beasts for the beasts. Might actually be worth our time to put a couple of heavy war sleds in this army just to provide the +10 armor and 5% physical resistance that they offer. The beast units are all relatively light on armor and could certainly help them out. It could also help snipe big single entities, which these guys will struggle against. We'll need some single entity killers. I mean, we could do some elemental bears or something, but I don't know, it's not quite the theme for Mother Ostankya, is it? I'll think about it. You can also build something, really? These are pretty expensive. 47 for cannons? 47. Maybe we just need to upgrade the outpost. Also, how's Vlad and the dwarfs doing? Still more or less in a deadlock. I also notice Clan Angrand has been displaced to the Forest of Gloom. This is also quite interesting. Man, this is just very interesting all the way down there. But anyway, also Slaanesh giggle. I believe we are ready to go to next turn. No, we are not ready to go next turn. Ooh, almost screwed that up. Victor Zanvin, you're ready for an attack. Another attack. We could level you guys up, but nah, it's fine. Pyrrhic victory, you say. This is not a walled settlement, so I don't see this being Pyrrhic, but we'll find out.
A hard fight beckons, but know that Mother Kislev strengthens her faithful defenders.
Alrighty, here we go, looking nice and color coordinated with a little bit of variation from the heroes in terms of mounts and barding and whatnot, but looking pretty good. And the silver and the gold and the ice and the red and blue, all working for me. Very nice. Anyway, we got a pretty neat battle up ahead by the looks of it. The enemy has a big old pile of units, and because the place is not a walled area, being in the mountains of Morn, we are able to fight the enemy on field, but it is going to sort of end up being almost like a siege or a reverse siege, as we have some fairly large impassable pieces of terrain which will give us a sort of a little mini settlement, or almost like a fort. I remember there were like forts and, or at the very least, emplacements of various kinds in historical titles that you could put on the map. I wonder why they did away with that in the Fantasy Total War. Do people not like those? Alright, well, either way, the Boar Boys are having a pretty bad day. They charge forth, but they get gunned down by a combination of the little Groms and, well, I guess the Kossars, regardless of armor or not. But here come the rest of the enemy units, slow them down with a little bit of that Frostbite from the Frost Maiden's Kiss, and just continuing to do damage to them as best as possible. Slow them down to 18 speed, and it looks like they got staggered or something, because this unit stopped moving as soon as it got hit by that. And the little Groms, it's possible that what might have happened is a couple units got knocked away. Yeah, because see, they start moving again. They might have got knocked away. Sometimes when a unit gets knocked away, the rest of the unit gets confused. But it usually tends to happen with larger units, as in, like, monstrous infantry and stuff. Well, either way, those Orc boys are having a pretty bad day, and the rest of them are very slowly heading towards us, slowed down by that ice sheet, and continuing to take shots from all of our pistol-wielding armored Kossars, which is great, because these guys have relatively low ammunition, and we're at least giving them a chance to run out of it before they head into the melee. And it's also the reason why we have our sort of ringers in this particular army, our best unit, who are psyching themselves up and getting ready to join the fray with their twin blades. And still looking fantastic as they do. I love the dark armor contrasting with those ice blades. And here they go, the Watchmen in the Night, and going to start moving through the ranks of armored Kossars who have, well, let's say nearly run out of ammunition. To start mincing some of those Orc boys and biggins. There we go. Okay, you guys shouldn't really spread yourself out in this particular manner, but well, whatever. Anyway, enemy's still having a pretty bad time. Our little Groms are attempting to fire. It's a little bit difficult to fire with the little Groms, as they tend to not like to. Like, I tried to order them to fight here, but you gotta find essentially the right way to do it, and then they will. Fire, and when they do, this is a pretty perfect blob for them to engage in. Or with. There we go. That's probably a nice shot, and I'm sure knocking out a lot of Orcs, even though it's kind of hard to tell. And we keep holding ground. In the meantime, this is not the only fight. There is a little mini-fight going on over here as Irogny has arrived with his own command squad, Gotrek, Felix, and this Patriarch, who's taking a little bit of damage to the combination of Trolls and Biggins here, but I'm sure these four can handle themselves. Soon to be 5 as we get the other Patriarch that we've been waiting on in here as well. And we do want the other Patriarch in here to provide the Guardian trait, as Felix does not yet have it. It won't until he is level 12. If we save up enough points. But besides, I don't believe Guardian applies to yourself, so you usually want 2 units of Guardian together, which is why we've been getting Shrewd Advisor for most of our Patriarchs. Anyway, out here it looks like the enemy has managed to flank us with a few units, including some Biggins and Orc Boar Boys. The Biggins are absolutely tearing through our armored Kossars, which is hardly surprising, as they have a massive amount of melee attack and 74 armor-piercing weapon strength, as compared to the armored Kossars, whose weapon strength is merely 30. Although I suppose these guys are buffed up by the Wa right now. They're still probably hovering around 60 regular weapon strength, so hitting twice as hard as the armored Kossars, and pretty decently armored themselves. Low melee defense, of course, and yeah, 45 armor-piercing damage. That's a scary sight for the armored Cossars, which are a relatively fragile infantry unit, despite their stats, I should say. They're more fragile than their stats would probably make you think. And we're going to have to get a few of them out of there and send in a few of the regular unarmored Cossars. Funnily enough, while they will absolutely also get ripped apart by the Biggins, the Biggins armor piercing will be wasted upon them. Our command squad continues to fight in the biggest blob of enemies, and we can see the little Groms landing some nice shots right into the center of the fray. And of course, the Watchmen in the Night are continuing to fight as well. And I'm sure dishing out the most damage. Ooh, be careful with that. There we go, that's a much better shot. And yeah, there we go. That tore a pretty big line through the enemy. A swath of destruction by the little Groms. Anyway, looks like Yarogny and his command squad have cleared out the trolls, and the Biggins are down to maybe 25% of his HP. But fighting their own little mini battle out here, I think, is appropriate, considering that usually these guys have been responsible for the win of this army, and this army can't be relying on them forever. Another Wa activates, but Yarogny and co are not going to be particularly threatened by the Biggins, armor piercing or not. The enemy army is starting to waver, I'd wager. The enemy lord has been effectively defeated by the Druzhina down here, having foolishly moved towards our line without the accompanying units that were attempting to mob us, and just a few more units as the balance of power hits about 90% in our favor, and I'm sure the enemy will begin to rout. Getting a little bit of a shootout action going as well between the Orc Airboys, Goblin Archers, and our own Cossars, but that's not where the battle will be decided, as it is fighting greenskins usually means we're going to decide the battle in melee. And by the looks of it, the time has come as the enemy's last units begin to waver out and at last shatter. Certainly damage taken on the Watchmen in the Night, but it looks like we've maintained roughly about 50% of their numbers, so, well, that's actually roughly fairly even with the amount of HP they took, so good for them. Little Groms have not run out of ammunition, but have used more than 50% of theirs, and by the looks of it, have racked up plenty of kills and damage as well on them. Very nice. A very nice battle. Ooh, alright, very nice. If nothing else, you can always count on the orcs to give you a big fight when, well, there's lots of them around, and there very often are. And I suppose the same thing can be said of the Skaven, but at least the orcs have much more powerful infantry, and Orc Biggins, by the looks of it, can outfight armored Cossars pretty well. Because in SFO, Orc Biggins have a lot of armor piercing that they don't have in vanilla, and the armored Cossars can't quite pierce armor as well as they can. That said, we still had the Watchmen in the Night, the first of the units, taking 22k damage, but both being outdone by the two little Groms, 27k and 30k damage. It was an ideal situation for them since the enemy was so blobbed up, and those big old projectiles could blast right into the center mass of a big blob of orcs. Anyway, Star Iron Ring, some money, some XP, all very nice and lovely. We'll take Saber Mountain for ourselves and deprive the orcs of their capital. Victor Zaman, yeah, I can hold on to that Star Iron Ring. I think you've earned it. Yarogny has a war bear. I haven't decided whether we keep it on him or whether we keep him on foot, but it's certainly a thought. From now on, I think Victor Zaman will proceed through the mountains solo as we send Yarogny back up here, because I don't think Tzarina Katarin can bounce around between all of these territories all at the same time. Though I suppose, well, technically speaking, Vladimir Mikheyev could move back around, but I think we'll need him to move southward very soon. Epidemius will declare war on us. He's not at war with anybody, so unless we can get him to war with somebody he doesn't like, but he likes everybody here. What about the Dreadfleet? How do you feel about the Dreadfleet? Minus 98? No, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. As soon as one of the nearby factions asks him to declare war on us, he will come for us. And we need to be prepared for it. Could also build a temporary sort of garbage stack of a bunch of Cossars. We'll probably do so at Krakadrak, in fact. And we do have another Cossar commander available to us. And they're fairly decent specifically for this purpose, since they can hold those units fairly cheap. I guess we'll get you on the field. I wish you weren't so expensive, sir, but 'tis necessary. And we don't have a Step Shepherd to spare, so we can't reduce the cost of recruiting the Cossars and the Kislevite warriors yet. But what we will be able to do so is, well, we will be able to do it in the next couple of turns, so we can wait that long, I would wager. Yeah. Alright, I believe nobody else needs to move or do anything this time around. We did the buildings, we did not do the diplomacy this turn, but medium reliability means that it's unlikely anybody wants to diplomatize. Razakarek, pretty much done for. But hey, if we can take the Silver Road for ourselves, I wouldn't complain about it. Crown of Claws and Eternal Crusade. Building upgrade available, outpost available, damage building. Where is this damage building? Oh, it's in Port of Secrets now. We don't care. No. And end the turn now. I'd like to see if Archaon tries to move back towards Tzarina Katarin or not. I guess one unfortunate aspect of moving Radi Pajarski back towards Uragni is that we no longer know what's going on up here. Watch Archaon just bypass or ignore Tzarina Katarin and start moving this way instead. Would be... no, never mind, I lied, he's right there. well, Archie. Nagaroth... Oh, that's interesting. Oh, the elves are doing bad, the donut is in trouble, Nagaroth has fallen to a combination of the Drowned and Clark Haron there. Huh. Go figure. Oh, there's a bunch of Slaaneshi corruption here as well. Oh, I take it Sigvald's doing well then. Huh. Interesting. All very interesting. Let's see. Ready for duty. That's all great. Let's immediately spend a little bit of our cash to upgrade Fort Jakova to city and immediately get these guys up and running. You, and you. We're not going to bother raising the churches up to the next tier because I feel it's not worth it. I guess there's only a single one here. It's an extra supporter per turn. We're at 495, nearly 500 out of 600. Very, very close to that Confed. Do you have anything useful in your army? You have some Streltsy. I was hoping he'd build a bunch of his unique units and see, these guys are coming. Can't reach him with Mother Ostankya as yet, so I think Mother Ostankya, you can keep recruiting. We'll get 2 more things in the woods, and we will also keep an eye on this. Spirit Haunted, but no... none of the ones we want. We should probably still give one to this army, but I think that army would also have to be the Hag variant. And because it won't have a Patriarch in this army, we'll probably still want the Nature Spirit Affinity for the Casualty Replenishment Rate plus 10, and Magic Item Drop Chance plus 25. Damn, yeah, this thing's quite nice. It's quite nice. We just have to wait for the Hag Witches. I don't want to mill them because it takes too much money to do so, at least at the current time. And the Death Lore probably wouldn't be as helpful here as the other stuff would. I mean, I suppose it would, I could spam Spirit Leech for nothing else. But anyway, for now we're okay. Let's see, Tzarina Katarin. Okay, we need to figure out how we're hunting Archie down. So, I take it Eugene Golovac is not able to reach him? No, he's not. I wish I knew how far Archie could travel from here. Is he able to get all the way to Fort Dwarslav? Because if he is, not so great. Are you able to... Huh. We could try to bait them into the... You know what? Tzarina Katarin, go right here. I want to see if Archie can be baited into attacking you. With 2 armies, yes. Occupy this place. I take it occupation of a territory doesn't do anything to us. No. Meaning, they could attack us with 2 armies. Meaning, that's what we want. Meaning... Eugene, you're gonna go here, and we'll assume that Archie can't reach you, or at least we'll hope. You can go right outside of this territory. I hope I'm not wrong about this. Please take the opportunity to attack Tzarina Katarin, Archie. Roddy, you're going this way. Tzarina Katarin, we're gonna level you up because, well, decent likelihood that the enemy will actually attack you, unless the AI decides to be a coward today, though. There is a tendency towards it. Anyway, we're going to go Inspiring Presence, and I think it's time to start leveling up her army a little bit. Definitely want Best of the Court as the first thing. And we'll see about the other stuff afterwards. I still have not decided on Eagle Eye versus Champion of the Ice Guard, but I think because there's so many Ice Guard in Tzarina Katarin's army, and there will be more, it is Champion of the Ice Guard that we're gonna go rather than Eagle Eye. Yeah, the magic item drop chance might actually be the better thing, but I like the idea. And sometimes it's all about the, I don't know, flavor rather than necessarily the most efficient stuff. You can get a cooldown reduction on the Celiax Lullaby and increase your casualty replenishment. That's probably the best thing here. Perfect Vigor ain't too bad either. Huh. Actually, Tor's Battle Hymn cooldown, eh? By 25%. The thing about Tor's Battle Hymn is that it's not limited like Celiax Lullaby. Well, I mean, obviously Celiax Lullaby is limited to 3 uses because it's healing and would otherwise be too powerful. So the cooldown on it won't be anything crazy, whereas the Tor's Battle Hymn cooldown may very well be. I'm actually thinking perhaps Thunderous Orator is better. Unfortunately, the Replenish Troops is better for us, generally speaking. Character's Leadership Ore isn't super useful, but it's a strong ability that we'd be able to use more often. Now, I think we're gonna go with the Tor's Battle Hymn. Surprise myself with that one. A legendary, I was reading this. Golden Knight. Let's get you the common ground, common enemies, diplomatic relations for, actually no, I lied. Let's get the Blood of Leysa to get that cooldown, as you'll likely be dueling Archie. I suppose another question now is whether Archie's army warrants us switching from Sled to Frostworm. We do have to destroy that Hell Cannon, but I suppose if anybody tries to attack us, I wonder if Archie is going to chase Tzarina Katarin down. Hey, let's keep doing Sled at least for one more round. We'll see how it works. Alright, who else needs to move now? So that was Tzarina Katarin, Vladimir Mikheyev. You can reach Volcano's Heart. Good. So to Volcano's Heart you shall go. What do we have in terms of defenses here? More likely than not, I'd wager we should still fight this. Oh yeah, we have to fight this. Garrison's kind of trash though, and I might fight this manually if we don't end up ending the turn before the end of the episode. And then after that, next turn we'll have to decide whether we go this way or whether we go after Epidemias. Sort of preemptively declaring war. So you're able to reach Ice Spear from here? Just barely, but yes indeed you are. Not quite fully healed. What do we have in terms of defenses there? Okay, that one will have to be fought as well. Pyrrhic Victory, lots of troops there. I'm almost now thinking that, what if we send Urogny up this way? We still have to destroy the Maggot host as well, rather than looping all the way back around. If the reason I want to send him to fight Chaos is A, because I feel like he should get the Archaon defeat trait, and B, he has experience and leadership bonuses for his army when fighting Chaos. Includes the Chaos Dwarfs and Norska, but it's not Greenskins is what I'm getting at. There's a lot of stuff there. I guess it really all depends on when exactly Tamarkan decides to declare war on us. No real way to know. And the reason that this is important is that this is potentially a long way to travel if it doesn't quite go the way we want to. On the other hand, if we're able to link up with these provinces, we can be able to move back down here more easily anyway. There's also all of Norska to conquer, and we'd still be able to get the bonuses from that. Oh man, can Victor Zambin carry the day against all the orcs without Urogny's help is gonna be the real question. The answer to it, I don't know. Also, what do you have? Little Groms, yes. So skilled craftsmen for you, I guess. A little bit of armor, a little bit of ammunition. I wish this offered them a little bit more in terms of their melee capabilities, but oh well. And let's level you guys up as well. You have all the stuff, meaning you can go into hard as nails or tough as nails and retinue valet. You guys do have a tendency to fight, so after we get retinue physician, we'll obviously go for impassioned and try to get you a little bit more in the way of defenses. You, mage. Reserve capacity would be great, but I think we gotta go for Guardian Skull. Frankly, I should have gotten it earlier. And we really need to channel. Damn, do we need to channel. Yeah, because this isn't an army. This is gonna be gone in a few turns. So I think we'll need to send Uragni up here. And see what we can do about the Mountains of Morn. We don't have to invest in those territories right now, after all. Alright, so Uragni, you're going back this way, then. Well, this seems like the right move to me. Oh, no, we have another Ataman thing. We have a Church Orthodoxy Chapel thing here already. A building here that we don't need, I think. You, Beledna, are going to transfer troops to Uragni. These troops, and then you're going to go and transfer the armored Cossars to Victor Zambin before, well, you're probably going to leech XP while we have profit for a little while until we can get you your full stack up and running. Radi Pojarski, you're going to join this army as well, and the rest of you are looking good to me. Alrighty. Probably between the episodes. Let's see what the Ataman has for us. You, sir. Traditionalist gives us recruit rank for troops or control in local region. I do like the recruit rank, but free control is free control. Let's get more control. Offering 6 ain't too bad. Ah, there we go. More control means more money after all, so there's certainly that. Oh, and speaking of money, yes to the Gem Cutter's Workshop. We will upgrade the Trade Quorum to Tier 3 in the main settlement, but not necessarily in the second settlements, because I'm wary of the control losses. We also got to watch out for our money, generally speaking. And, oh, did I forget to move back the Ataman? Ah, well, I guess next turn we'll need to upgrade the roads and stuff here. And he doesn't have to return to Kislev for another turn anyway. Actually, if you return to a next turn... Well, no, in 2 turns we'll have the Goldsmith's Halls doing even further reduction. And it's going to cost a lot of money to build that place up anyway, so probably fine as we are. You, sir. I'm a little bit wary of attacking this guy here while this guy's out here, because he can go to sea. Maybe we'll see if he lands. We can always send Igor Talichev out to Bay of Blades. Almost tempted to build just a few spare Cossars in here, maybe even a few spare Kislevite Wars. Damn, I guess I shouldn't have deleted the extras out of here after all. I'll think about it, but for now it doesn't change the fact that we still have another battle on our hands. Victor Zamvin out to Ice Spewer. You go. Then let's see how you handle yourself without Uragni to hold your hand. Go.
A hard fight beckons, but know that Mother Kislev strengthens her faithful defenders.
Alrighty, here we go. As I said in the previous battle, Victor won't have Uragni to babysit him forever, and thus will do this battle without him. Little Groms are going to target the enemy tower, Tier 3 built out here, Catapult Tower. That is certainly going to be threatening to us with the explosive damage that it deals, but fortunately between 2 volleys from the Little Groms and a little bit of extra help from the Cossars, and the tower goes down, just managing to kill off a few of them, a few of our units there, and before the said tower's destruction. A very nice shot from the Little Grom, knocking down the trolls, but not out, unfortunately. Actually not doing a crazy amount of damage, considering it was 2 projectiles from the Little Groms, and they dealt, what, maybe 1800 damage, something along those lines, though the trolls will, by the looks of it, regenerate plenty of it. Alright, well, unfortunate for us, the will deal as the enemy tries to move in, but of course we'll get stopped by our Warbear riding heroes. Our Tzarina will back off and continue firing range shots at the enemy as well. But we'll be ready to move in should he need to. Though frankly, these guys don't these guys don't really do much damage from a range, but that's pretty much all range lords. Especially the bow ones, but yeah, hardly surprising. Anyway, we're gonna back off a little bit with our heroes, just, okay, turn around and actually fight, units. Like, do you really have to be told to turn around and fight when you're being attacked? Maybe the boar boys aren't getting through their defenses, so the heroes are ignoring it. Anyway, I wanted to back off so that these guys were in the shadow of this impassable terrain. It would allow our units to fire into the blobs of enemies as they come down this ramp. There we go. Looks pretty effective, by the looks of it. Pistol fire continues from our armored cussers, and arrow fire from our regular cussers, which together knock out those orc boys real quick, and these trolls, I'm sure, will follow suit shortly. Especially with the warbears attacking them. And yes, we will get warbear riders soon as we can, and specifically soon as we can afford them. Warbear riders are insanely expensive, folks, and we can get, like, what? I don't know, like 8 Kossar units for a single warbear rider? It's a very, very expensive unit. And Kossars are very easy to reduce in cost. Well, I mean 8 units of Kossars, assuming that we use a Kossar commander lord that reduces their upkeep by 20%. But they're really, really cheap and, as we've seen many a time, quite effective. At this time, it's not yet worth it to put a horrible dent in our income just for a couple of units of warbear riders. But we're getting there, folks. We're getting there. Just gotta pump up that econ. Let's see. Enemy refuses to charge down towards us with those orc boys. Perhaps they tried to run down here, saw all the corpses of their friends, and decided that no, maybe not. Maybe somebody else can wah this day. Anyway, getting a little bit of a shootout now as the enemy error boys fire down upon us and into our armored Kossars, I believe, and are doing decent damage. Once again, armored Kossars are more fragile than you'd think, though you also gotta remember that the orc arrow boys, unlike the goblins, have pretty darn decent armor-piercing missile damage at 8 per, compared to our regular Kossars, who only do 4 missile or armor-piercing missile damage. The orc arrow boys got twice as much. Lots of strength behind those fungusy muscles. Anyway, here we go. Time to make our way up the ramp the old-fashioned way, and the old-fashioned way is the way of the twin blades of the Watchmen in the Night. Now, the strategy has paid off time and again for this particular army, and I'm sure it will do so here. Just gotta hack and slash our way up the ramp while the arrow support continues to, well, help out. And are those corpses in the air? Huh. I wonder if this is because they were knocked around by the projectiles from the little Groms, who are continuing to fire upon the enemy the best they can. Gonna try to destroy this barricade over here as well, just so we can send some units to deal with those darn error boys, as they have been dishing out solid damage to the armored Kossars here. Now, those shields perhaps not helping as much as the armored Kossars would like, and neither the armor. Hopefully our regular Kossars can knock out the orc arrow boys fast enough so that they don't destroy that particular unit, but once it's taken sufficient damage, we'll replace it with a different unit in that particular spot. Just rotate units so that not one single unit takes too much damage, effectively. Anyway, if the arrows or the error boys ain't focusing our range Kossars, the range Kossars are free to attack them and kill them off. And, ooh, big old blob of enemies coming down now, but if they're in a column like this, this seems like a pretty ripe target for the little Groms, who should be able to fire into that line, as long as we can get them to fire on the right location without them saying, no, our shots are blocked. I really feel like artillery needs a toggle where you could just tell it to essentially ignore units. Like, if you're telling your unit to fire here and it's saying that it's blocked by, for example, these units, I'd really rather it try sometimes, or at least have the option to. Obstructed is the word I was looking for. That's why I kept pausing. I was like, what is the word, damn it? But anyway, command squad together with the Watchmen in the night versus Orca Biggins should go in our favor decently. At least I would imagine. It's actually a pretty interesting matchup if you think about it, due to the armor-piercing damage on the Biggins, but we do have dampen on the Watchmen in the night as well, so at least it reduces the enemy armor, and it makes our mage that little bit more effective. Plus, as long as they're holding, we do have range superiority here between the little Groms and the unarmored Cossars. And we can certainly outlast the enemies, as our Patriarchs will continue dropping those battle hymns of Tor combined with the Salyak's lullabies, both to keep our heroes and Lord healed up, and the same goes for the Watchmen in the night. I didn't think this particular unit would be so central, but as I maybe conjectured at the start of the campaign, or just before the start of the campaign, that by virtue of being able to double up on regiments of renown, they would make sort of the key units in every particular army that they're in, a lot more so than when you only have a single copy. And it's certainly working out for these guys. It did work out for the Ikshina Ambusher, a regiment of renown. I forgot what they were called, and I'm sure it'll be the same for the rest. Well, looks like we've got a Black Orc Big Boss moving down here as well. Got to be careful about him knocking out individual units of the Watchmen in the night, but it looks like in terms of their HP, they're still looking pretty okay. 84 and 95, and I'm sure well, maybe not a fair few, but at least some of them have been killed by friendly fire from our little Groms. But hey, the little Groms are continuing to do work and certainly running out of ammunition in this particular situation. Kind of an ideal situation for them in terms of the enemy lining up like this. I do like how the enemy's numbers always seem much greater than ours, so that the Watchman in the night constantly looks around it. The Black Orc Big Boss is still in the middle of the fray, but down to Jenkins. This Black Orc Big Boss is named Jenkins. Jenkins Dribblechin. Jenkins, though. I'm sorry, it just doesn't seem like an orky name to me. Jenkins, really? Oh, okay, I mean, sure. Jenkins the Orc. I'll take it. Alrighty, well anyway, poor Jenkins is probably going to be down for the count relatively shortly, down to 10 to 15% of his HP, and the enemy army is down to the dregs in terms of the balance of power. Another Frost Maiden's Kiss comes down, though once again we have barely any mana in this particular army. But I guess we didn't need any fancy spells to hack our way through the piles of orc bodies. Just a little bit more work to do here, and I'm sure the enemy army will shatter. I do believe Jenkins has either run away or has fallen in the press of bodies, but it's kind of difficult to tell who is where. I'm getting a lot of this sort of brawl action over the last few episodes, and I'm really into it. And so it's a reason why I love to play Khorne, just watching those Khornate Berserkers and tear through everything with their dual axes. And while we may not have dual axes on these guys, we got dual something. And I suppose it's a blessing in disguise that we don't have a ton of mana in this particular army, as we can't rely on a blizzard or a heart of winter and to clear the enemy blobs. And we have to fight our way through them. Anyway, but we won't be fighting our way through them for too much longer in this particular battle, as most of the enemy melee units are wavering and are about to shatter. And just a little bit more blade work, and the last of the orc boys will rout, and the entire enemy army will activate their chain rout. Just got to get close enough to these error boys for them to realize that their army has broken. Come on, somebody get close enough to them, and there we go. And with that, the battle is most certainly ours. And I would say pretty decisive. I expect that the little Groms, and as always, the Watchmen and the Knights will be the standouts. All right, very nice. Once again, these hordes of orcs and the battles they're giving us are really doing it for me. 36k damage and 34k damage on the two little groms, certainly once again being quite applicable in these particular kinds of situations. And once again, the Watchmen in the Night carry the day with the infantry, plus a little bit of damage from our command squad, such as it is in this particular army, but they're mostly there to support the Watchmen in the Night. It's not like we have high damage dealers among them. And 21k damage on the Frost Maiden, not so bad though, as that was a decent amount of Frost Maiden's kisses occupied. Alright, Ice Spear Rosaris, another Nomad Riding Master, Veteran Warrior, another standard of the Empty Steppe. Interesting. I gotta think up some interesting uses for that particular banner. We can immediately, I guess, invest in the market square here, but I think just by virtue of the proximity of so many enemies, we're not going to invest in defenses for these places for now. Just go for the simple stuff that will generate a little bit of cash, and we'll wait until it's more of a safer territory to make any larger investments. Might build a temporary sort of Khazar army out here as well, just to hold ground. Speaking of building some temporary Khazars, could do the same thing with the Rogne's army, maybe even intersperse some acolytes of Ursun together with some basic Kislevite warriors, just to keep it reasonably low cost. Just gotta try to get our income up to about 10k so that we can do a little bit of econ focus. Vladimir Mikheyev, you still have to attack. Everybody else is looking okay, and maybe not everybody. Let's see. Igor Talichev. I'd still like to see what the enemy does here. I don't think they'd fight this. They would run. And if they ran, I'm not sure you'd be able to chase them down. On the other hand, you could give it a try. Give it a try, see what happens. Mostly I'm just curious. Hopefully there isn't a full stag belonging to Wolfric right where we can't see it. You're going to run. Is this just far enough to escape us? It is exactly just far enough to escape us. That's kind of hilarious. If you go into March stance, full speed stance, you are not able to reach Castle Alexandrinov either. Oh, man. Yeah, this was a good trick, as both of these armies will most likely attack us next turn. We cannot land unless we... a moment. Mother Ostankya. Cancel these for a second. Go right here. I want to see something. I don't know whether this will work, but it will. Nice try, World Walkers. A nice try. Alright, well, I was going to end the episode here, but this is going to be the first battle for the Things in the Woods in decent numbers, and I guess Hagwitch as well, so we may as well. We may as well play this. I probably should have moved the other army in as a reinforcement in March stance, but I got excited about this, so away we go.
Look at those impudent fools. They think themselves strong. Aye. But what is their strength to the leeching cold, the dark shadows, the vile woods? They will learn, won't they?
Alrighty, can't wait to hear more of Mother Ostankya's speeches. They're very different from the other speeches after all. Anyway, here we go, debut battle for her army. It's obviously not complete, but it is working. We got them Things in the Woods as well as the Mordheim Beowulfs. Mordheim Howlers? The heck? Sounds like a Skaven unit. Mordheim Beowulfs is the name. Maybe I should name one of them Mordheim Howlers, because I don't know why my brain did that. What the heck? I don't know. Anyway, let's see. On the right flank, we charged in with two of the units of Things in the Woods, combined with some of our snow leopards, and then the same thing over on this flank as well. The snow leopards are being used to charge in first, and then allow the Things in the Woods to follow. Witch Brew comes down, and the enemy blobs there from Mother Ostankya while she continues to hit the enemy, together with her Hag Witch pal there. And they do seem to do pretty decent damage when they attack, or at the very least Mother Ostankya certainly does. I'd be interested to see how much damage they will deal once they're a little bit more leveled up. Anyway, the things in the woods are very well in the fight now, running in and smashing into the enemy lines. See how quickly they can make their way through the enemy berserkers here, and both sort of high damage dealing units. But I'd wager that the things in the woods are the more fragile. I'm just trying to observe their animations. There we go. Alright, and your masters do desert you indeed. Too many cats and too many whatever the heck the things in the woods are. And it looks like the Berserkers are the last unit that remain on the field. In fact, the entire enemy army has shattered in the Berserkers by virtue of being unbreakable. Wait, Berserkers aren't unbreakable. Now, these are the Brutes of the Hound. But that's why they're unbreakable. They're the Cornate Regiment of Renown Berserkers. Yeah. Alright, well, that's all good. We'll just kill them off one by one until there are none. And I'm sure that's just the way Ostankya and the things in the woods would have it. A little bit of extra bleed from the Hag Witch as well. Anybody know what happens if you have over minus 100% healing power? Because we have various things that reduce enemy healing power. I imagine it doesn't cause the enemy to take damage, but that would be fun. Though it would really suck for Festus. Anyway, it looks like with that, the small enemy army is broken. I just wanted to get a nice shot of Mother Ostankya and on her things in the woods pull the sled there with the rest of the army. I'm expecting great things from this. Can't wait to get those incarnate elementals of beasts up, another Hag Witch, etc, etc, etc. But for now, we got a little bit of chasing. Wait, we don't need to chase, and that's why we end the battle here. You know, I wasn't originally intending to use Ostankya's things in the woods and the snow leopards in concert with each other, but they're not too bad. They're not too bad. Interspersing a single unit or a single snow leopard among a unit of the things in the woods allows the single entity to take enemy charges and then protects the more fragile glass cannon things in the woods. Or if push comes to shove, we could sort of charge a snowcat in and then move the things in the woods around the back as well. They're both quite quick. And then there's also the fact that the snow leopards apply maim to the enemy, and the things in the woods apply something else. I don't remember what it was. But certainly something to consider / think about, which is kind of the same thing. Anyway, we're not going to bother healing up. I think 30 devotion ain't bad, but I think we're still prioritizing money at this point in time, regardless of it not being a crazy amount. Potion of Healing. Mother Ostankya, out of curiosity. The Cauldron of Power is one of these items. Okay, well then, it's alright. And you guys have Mastery of the Elemental Winds. I actually don't see it. Oh, it's right there. I lied. Does Mother Ostankya have it herself? Yes, indeed. No, she has Spell Mastery. Oh! Well, we'll definitely need another Hag Witch. We wanted another Hag Witch, but yeah. This means that if we move you two together,
I yearn for dry land.
Now they can't attack you, even if Wulfric does have a full stack nearby. I'm hoping Castalton will go after this guy. It's unlikely that they'd attack the Tower of Crack, but I'd also doubt that they would be able to take it, even if they did. That said, we'll have to figure out whether they can or cannot next time around, because we're out of time, and I'm gonna have to call the episode here. Next time, 44 and 3. Are you insane? 41 and 3. 44 and 4. Game. Why you do this? And it's probably the... no, I don't see anything in the province from us annoying them last time. Why do you guys hate us so much? Minus 50 aversion, minus 30 strategic threat. Damn. And they're not doing so bad with 7 territories there, Heralds of Air. I've never seen the Wood Elves do this well since I don't know, near the time where they were released when they were complete maniacs. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. Anyway, I guess you're gonna have to risk 3% of wounding. Don't get wounded, though. Failure. Iffy. Very iffy. You risk being belednified. Anyway, as I said, I'm gonna call it here. Next time we continue moving through Grimgor's territories, hunt down Archaon, hopefully with Tzarina Katarin, if he does not give us combat directly, but if he does, well then, we'll fight him directly. In that manner as well, we will most likely... I haven't completely decided yet. Most likely push towards the Crystal Spires with Vladimir and Mikheyev, but if Epidemius declares warness, we'll loop back here towards the Forest of Decay to trade it to Malice.
You are the great
And then immediately start trading all this stuff to Malice. Because I really don't have a better idea for who to put up there. I mean, in theory, we could put any AI up there, because even like an AI that can't really use these territories because of its cheats will be able to, you know, get less annoyances from all that stuff up there. But I don't see a nearby AI that we could do that with. That's the problem. I mean, if we went all the way to Cathay, but we have to hold all of this territory in that time, and it's not good territory. It'll all rebel by that time. And if the Malice thing doesn't work, we'll just kill him and raise everything there and do our best to keep it clear of resettlement. Anyway, 500 out of 600 in terms of the Loyalist Supremacy, i.e. Confederation of the Orthodoxies. So that's coming soon. Stay tuned for more Ice Court. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially the threshold. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.